Two state offices doing less may be costing you more. The legislature over the years has reassigned duties from the Wisconsin Secretary of State and the state treasurer's offices to other departments. But on its own, the legislature cannot eliminate the elected offices altogether. But should they stay or should they go? Fox 11 on special assignment this evening with Mark Leland examining what's at stake for taxpayers.
All is quiet over at the office of the Secretary of State in Madison. A once bustling department of government has been scaled back over the past 2 decades. The duties reassigned by the legislature to the Department of Financial Institutions and the Department of Administration.
And it doesn't make any sense. The government doesn't get any smaller. You just transfer the duties to appointed bureaucrats.
Secretary of State Doug LaFollette has given up many programs during his 9 terms in office. LaFollette no longer handles corporation and business information, registering trademarks, administering the Uniform Commercial Code, and handling notary public commissions. These duties were passed over to the Department of Financial Institutions, DFI, which was set up in 1995 by then Governor Tommy Thompson. A few years ago, the Department of Administration took over the administrative services functions of the Office of the Secretary of State. In most other states across the country, the Secretary of State continues to handle these same duties.
And I don't know why Wisconsin wants to do what is so different. Make us stick out like a sore thumb in the rest of the country. That's foolishness.
Head over to the state treasurer's office and duties have eroded away there too.
One time the state treasurer's office oversaw banks, did the investments, collected the taxes, number of those different things.
The latest cut coming in the last month when Governor Scott Walker signed the new 2-year budget, which also transferred the treasurer's unclaimed property program over to the Department of Revenue. We wanted to speak with Treasurer Kurt Schuler, who just 2 years ago drafted an amendment to eliminate his office altogether. He said then it should be all or nothing. Instead of Schuler, Deputy Treasurer Scott Felt was offered up to answer our questions.
We would love to have an open and honest discussion as to what the state treasurer's office does, what it used to do, and how the consistent and continuous erosion of duties through legislative action has brought us to this point.
The state constitution only requires the state treasurer to serve on the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands, which he still does. The Secretary of State is on the same board and also constitutionally charged with keeping the seal of Wisconsin, maintaining a record of legislative acts, and it places him third in line to take over as governor if needed. All other duties are prescribed by law, which legislators can take away.
We see the removal of these duties as in some ways an end around the state constitution.
Transferring some duties to other agencies is one thing. To get rid of the Secretary of State and Treasurer, a change in the state constitution would have to be made. That requires a yes vote by 2 consecutive legislatures and then approval by voters in a statewide referendum. Talk of eliminating the state offices of Secretary and Treasurer come up every so often here in Madison, but so far have gone nowhere. This time around, though, Governor Walker himself supports the change.
Yeah, I've supported it when I was a lawmaker, support it now.
Walker says it's not a partisan issue since Secretary of State Doug LaFollette is a Democrat and State Treasurer Kurt Schuler is a Republican.
It's just one of those where those are positions that probably are dated and now can be done by other parts of state government.
It should be pointed out the departments of financial institutions, administration, and revenue are all run by secretaries appointed by the governor, rather than elected by the people, as is the case with the Secretary of State and Treasurer. LaFollette says it's a power play. More power in the hands of the governor means less independent control by the people.
I believe in real democracy in government, and that means the people should elect the leaders, not have them appointed by one person.
We asked the governor, doesn't getting rid of elected officials in favor of his hand-picked department heads give him more control?
Yeah, but you could put checks and balances in there too if people want.
Freshman Republican Assemblyman Michael Schra of Oshkosh agrees and tells me he's initiating another push to eliminate the offices by changing the Constitution.
My goal with this bill is simply to save taxpayers money. If you've got a job that pays $68,000 a year and you've got staff people and you've got nothing to do, I think, times change, and I think we just have to look at it being, more frugal with our taxpayer dollars. And
Schra is in the early stages of gathering legislative support. From the taxpayer's perspective, The current budget for the Office of the Secretary of State is $513,000. The state treasurer's budget is more than $4.8 million.
Some people say eliminating the office will automatically save taxpayers money.
In the state treasurer's office standpoint, it does not save the taxpayers one dime. We have been on what's called program revenue for well over 10 years.
The treasurer's budget is actually funded through program revenues, not tax dollars, but an argument can be made that savings can be achieved indirectly.
Do you see it as saving taxpayers money?
Actually, it cost the taxpayers money. When they set up DFI, it cost millions.
If I was in a position of making $68,000 a year for not having a whole lot of responsibilities, I would fight very hard to keep that job also, probably. I think that's what's happening here.
The question is, what do you think? As a voter and a taxpayer, ultimately, eliminating elected officials will come down to you if it makes it to a referendum. So we want to know what you think. Log on to fox11online.com, check out the story, and then at the bottom, post your comments right there on Facebook. On Special Assignment, I'm Mark Leland, Fox 11 News.
Mark will also continue to follow the story for us. You can also check out the resolution to change the state constitution, which highlights what would become of the remaining duties of the Treasurer and the Secretary of State. You'll find that link also in Mark's story in the On Assignment tab at fox11online.com.